Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my review of the June 10th, 2015 episode of Wednesday Night Intensity. My first Wednesday Night Intensity actual review in a while. So, I'll tell you, the show, of course, was the aftermath of Key and Case 2015. However, I have I had the feeling that tonight's episode of Intensity was the kickoff of Alexander Rotten's main event era, I'd say. Or that's how I would describe it. Now, what do I think will come out of this whole Alexander Rotten's storyline? Well, to be quite honest, I don't know what to expect. I know he's going to be a great heel now that he is a heel. And I know that he will be a great character. However, will he be a productive champion or a good champion? We're going to find out. However, let's kick off the intensity review. First off, we start out with Alexander Rotten walking out and telling everyone of what happened last Sunday night. Let me add that into my notes really quick. All right, there we go. Dwayne Porter walks down and to the ring and tells Rotten that he will not be the champion for a long time, being as he is still in the championship picture. Western Light also comes out and says the same exact thing, thus forcing Kyle Reese to make two matches for tonight, where the winners will get to face Alexander Rotten for the USW Championship at Hardcore Haven. This also officially turns Alexander Rotten heel. I like what they did with this. I like how they had one performer fight and another performer fight, and if they won, they'd be in that main event match. So that was pretty cool. And that kicks off into the first match, which is the match allowing or the match that would allow either performer into the main event match. The number one contenders match for the USW Championship, or the contenders match for the USW Championship match at Hardcore Haven. Western Light beat Prophecy. So afterwards, I think Western Light, he won because he got out of the limb lock and hit the lantern on Prophecy, and then covered him for the win. That led to Yo-Yo Joe attacking Prophecy and challenging him to a cage match for the Blue Belt title at Hardcore Haven. This signals that the dawn or the start of the specialty matches for Hardcore Haven have been kicked off now that it will be Yo-Yo Joe and Prophecy for the Blue Belt Championship at Hardcore Haven. That's gonna be a great match. The past two matches that they've had were amazing. They were fucking fantastic. Of course, I think the second or third, which is the second or third will be the next two or three. I don't know. This will either be the second or third match these two have had against each other, and the ones they've had before were great. I don't think it's going to be as, I think it'll be great, but I don't think it's going to be as great as the previous ones. However, not only does this signify Dwayne Porter versus Yo-Yo Joe at Hardcore Haven, but this also signifies that Western Light will face Alexander Rotten, at least Alexander Rotten at Hardcore Haven. This leads into a promo with Fernandez walking out and telling everyone that he will not stop fighting on Intensity, and that until he goes down in the history books as the guy who got forgotten, he will not go down in the history books as a guy who got forgotten after losing multiple times before being forgotten. So pretty much not going down in the record books as the guy who fell into obscurity before he was even forgotten, or before he even fell into obscurity. So he's going to continue fighting on Intensity until he gets remembered again, which is interesting. Now, what would I have liked to have come out of this? I would like Fernandez and Gringo to get back as a tag team. Reason being is because A, we don't have too many great tag teams in USW right now, and B, Fernandez and Gringo aren't doing much, and I don't think they are going to be doing much, at least by themselves. So therefore, we need to have Fernandez and Gringo back as a tag team. Either way, this leads to Philip Akron walking down, who is also doing nothing, and challenging Fernandez to a match right then and right there, which Fernandez happily accepts. And afterwards, we get into the second match, which of course is Fernandez versus Philip Akron. Fernandez beats Philip Akron, and afterwards, Philip Akron is distracted by the referee. Well, the match ends because Philip Akron was distracted by the referee, and then Fernandez hit a low blow on him and pinned him with a roll-up pin to win the match. So he didn't even hit his finisher on him. He just got him in a simple roll-up pin, got a 3 count, and ran away. Pretty damn good heel tactics, I guess. And it definitely brings some fuel and sets a fire to, I guess, what they're trying to have as a rivalry. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know why you would pair Fernandez up against Philip Akron. I mean, I know they're both doing nothing, but why do they need to do something as a pair? You know, whatever. Afterwards, we get a preview for Ferocity, which comes, or the second episode of Ferocity, which is this Saturday, June 13th, which I'll probably do a review for. And we jump right back into the third match, which is the #1 contenders match for the Extreme Championship. DHIG beat Crimson Red via submission. Where was Reign in this? Have we broken up DHIG and Reign? Because that's just one less tag team we have. Now who do we have? Indigo Reaction. Haven't seen him for a while. Martin Brothers, Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin, Case, and Point. And I don't mean Point. There's no Point as a tag team. I mean Case and Point. 3 or 4 tag teams. We had 4 or 5, and now whatever. Not saying that DHIG and Reign were doing anything. Reigning Standard was a piece of shit. It didn't work out. So, of course, you know, you have to change something up if it's not working. However, the tag team division isn't working, and we haven't changed that up yet. So that's kind of disappointing. Anyway, DHIG covers Crimson Red after the planner and won the match. This led to Anarchy coming down after Crimson Red after Crimson Red started throwing a fit and hitting the chaos on him and standing over him while he got the crowd fired up. So it looks like Anarchy versus Crimson Red at Hardcore Haven. Again, another unusual pairing like Fernandez and Philip Akron. However, Akron and Fernandez make more sense as I see a green versus red in Philip Akron versus Fernandez. But with Anarchy and Crimson Red, I see a red and blue, and I don't see red and blue mixing up too well. So whatever goes on or whatever happens, hopefully these two feuds, Akron and Fernandez and Anarchy and Crimson Red, hopefully those feuds go well. If not, hopefully they're both just a one and done. But you know what? Anarchy is doing nothing right now. He's been doing nothing since getting out of the Blue Belt Championship picture. Crimson Red has been doing nothing except since he got out of the Extreme Championship picture. And Fernandez has been doing nothing since he teamed with Gringo. Philip Akron has done nothing for quite a while now. So none of the 4 competitors are really doing anything right now, and they haven't done anything for a while. So I'd say right now just kind of give them back to their natural habitats. And I mean after this feud between Yo-Yo Joe and Prophecy, which hopefully will be a short feud, shorter than most of the feuds we see in USW, maybe 2 or 3 matches. So maybe this will be the last match, hopefully. And after that, you really need somebody to take in a #1 contender spot for the Blue Belt title, and that's where I think you can see Anarchy fitting in. And then an Extreme title, DHIG is the #1 contender. I don't see why you can't just have Crimson Red in that spot. I think both Anarchy and Crimson Red will do much better as Blue Belt champion and Extreme champion. However, do I want Anarchy to beat Prophecy for the Blue Belt title? No, but do I think it's going to be a great rivalry if it does happen? Yes. And And do I want Crimson Red to hold the Extreme title? Yes. I'd rather see Crimson Red as the Extreme Champion. Or I'm more ready to see Crimson Red as the Extreme Champion than I am with Anarchy being the Blue Belt Champion. Anyway, fourth match, Cannon beat Washington via disqualification. This is just continuing to go down as Washington's spiral. But I mean, the ending was Raymond interfering and distracting Cannon. But then Washington attacked Cannon with a chair. So Washington got himself disqualified, and I guess this is just continuing to further Washington's mental state just deteriorating because of Morbid. And Cannon and Dustin Raymond continuing their feud. Personally, I think Cannon and Dustin Raymond, I think their feud needs to end. I think it's been going on long enough. It's been going on since, I want to say No Remorse, which was early May, so about a month. Or by Hardcore Haven, it'll be about almost 2 months. So I think right now, at this point in time, you need to end the feud, especially considering they've had so many matches, because there have been more pay-per-views than you would have in 2 months. Like, you know, WWE, you would see 2 pay-per-views in 2 months, usually. This time we had, I believe, by Hardcore Haven, it'll be 4 pay-per-views. So I think this feud needs to this feud needs to stop, and I think Dustin Raymond should go over. Hopefully, he loses that key and case to Cannon or somebody else who can do much more with it. But I still have a problem with that key and case. And of course, Washington and Morbid. I like this feud. But back to Cannon and Dustin Raymond. The only real feud that worked ever, really, in USW history, or in WOW history either, WOW or USW history, the only 2 feuds that have worked, or the only few feuds that have worked, were Zack Hardy and Cannon, Zack Hardy versus Majigeta versus Cannon, and Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin versus Indigo Reaction. The only 3 rivalries. I mean, you look at it. I mean, Majigeta and Zack Hardy and Majigeta and Cannon have not even had a long feud. Mostly Majigeta and Cannon. They only feuded for 2 months, maybe 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. But they had a good feud. However, it didn't go on and on. But Zack Hardy and Cannon went on for almost half a year, if not half a year. So there's a great feud that went on for a while, but then again, Hardy was injured for quite a bit of it, so he just kept coming back and getting injured again. Zack Hardy, Cannon, Majigeta, that went on for 2 years in WOW. 2 years. And the crowd still kept eating it up, but I mean, now you really have nothing that can really compare to that feud. Because that was just between 3 great performers, 3 of the best performers USW or WOW have ever seen. And then Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin and Indigo Reaction, because they had this special storyline where it was always like, either we're going to have a match at this pay-per-view, or we're going to have a confrontation that's going to end in a brawl, or we're always going to have a brawl at some point, and every person from the locker room was going to have to break it up. And it was always at different intervals and times. So we always had something different, or at least something that didn't repeat itself all the time, which is why Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin versus The Good Reaction was great. Now you have Cannon and Dustin Raymond, and that's one of the very many feuds that cannot go on for a long time. It's just, it seemed like a good feud at the beginning, but now the idea is kind of soured, and they haven't really done anything with this feud, so they need to put the feud between Cannon and Dustin Raymond to an end. That's what I think this feud needs. And Washington and Morbid, I don't really see Washington getting a win over Morbid, because I think that will develop into his inner psyche just absolutely going berserk, and he just loses it. But anyway, that's that. Promo afterwards was Seth telling everyone that he knows who his next opponent will be, and that there is no way they will take away his championship. And that leads into the 5th match, which is the #1 contenders match for the USW Tag Team Championships. Case, the team of Amor and Hernastley, beat the Martin brothers. So we're gonna try Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin versus Case again. It didn't work the first time. They had 1 or 2 matches earlier in 2015. So I guess we're gonna try it again. Now that Case is much more, or at least much more experienced than before. Not much more experienced, but compared to what they knew before, they're more experienced. Hopefully this feud well. This tag team division really needs it. Of course, Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin are going to win. I don't think there's going to be any loopholes thrown, or there's going to be any teasers thrown. But I'm pretty sure that by the time we see the tag team division kind of sparkle again and shine again, if that's even a thing that we can see again, I think Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin will have Case as a real competitor compared to what they have now. That's my prediction. So Hernastley hit the Case on George Martin. That's how he won. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, that led to Inigo Reaction coming down and challenging the Martin brothers to a tables match at Hardcore Haven. So it looks like we're going to get Inigo Reaction finally back against the Martin brothers in a tables match. Once again, another specialty match at Hardcore Haven. You're going to see a lot of specialty matches, whether it's a weapons match or a tables match or a TLC match, which is a wood and metal match, or a knockout match or a submission match or an I give up match. You're going to see a lot of those matches because it is Hardcore Haven. So they're always supposed to be no disqualification rules for each match. That's the specialty. That's the special factor of Hardcore Haven. So that's why we are going to get a tables match and a ladders match and what else do we have? A chairs match or something? I don't know. Cage match. That's another one. So we're going to see a lot of those. Anyway, that leads into Double XL demanding that Kyle Reese give him a match at Hardcore Haven. Excuse me. Capital came down and answered his challenge, making the match a steel death match. There's another match, another specialty match you're going to see at Hardcore Haven. They brawl until Capital hits the Capital Punishment on Double XL. Stands over him with the metal chain around his hands. So Capital has the last laugh of tonight. 6-match, James beat Gringo. There's no real reason for this happening. Gringo and Titanfall brawled after James tried to pick them apart. Ash came down and started brawling with them all. This led to Kyle Reese announcing that James will defend the International Championship against Ash, Gringo, and Titanfall in a 4-ways match at Hardcore Haven. So this is a loophole to this whole specialty thing, even though it's not really a loophole because it is a specialty match. There's this whole thing where it doesn't necessarily have to be a specialty match at Hardcore Haven. It just has to be under hardcore rules, which is no disqualification rules. And in a 4-ways match or a 3-ways match or a 5-ways match, there are no disqualifications and no countouts. So that's why James, Ash, Gringo, and Titanfall at Hardcore Haven is going to be a 4-ways match, and there's no stipulation to it. It's because that's just, a 4-ways match is a specialty match in its own, or no disqualification match in its own. So that's that. Afterwards, Chris Frost walked backstage, got attacked by a man in black. This led to the man in black leaving Chris Frost notes saying, "You will not win at Hardcore Haven." Excuse me. So pretty much a promise from whoever it was. Lone Wolf? Anybody? Lone Wolf? No? Nobody? No testifying? No? No judge? No jury? No argument? Well, looks like Lone Wolf. At least it looks like Lone Wolf to me. And it seems as though Chris Frost does have a match at Hardcore Haven. We don't know what it is yet. I'm trying to piece it together. I have a feeling he's going to face someone like, I don't know. I guess Lone Wolf, maybe. at Hardcore Haven. However, with this whole thing, Hardcore Haven and all of this crazy crap, it seems as though Chris Ross will have a match against Lone Wolf. If not, then something in a match we don't know of yet, or we don't know the opponent or who will face who in the match. But that's why I think Chris Ross is going to have that, and then Lone Wolf is going to get involved, or it's going to be Chris Ross versus Lone Wolf, whichever way it works, I guess. Afterwards, we had Majigeta walking down to the ring. This was interesting. He was interrupted when Motiontron showed a screen that said, shit, hold on. I wrote down the wrong number. All right. It showed a screen that said June 17th, 2015 on Intensity, vengeance will be thrown out, and the challenge will be answered. Majigeta, you and I at Hardcore Haven? Majigeta said yes. The lights go out. Majigeta is attacked and laid out through the commentator's table, as seen when the lights go back on and the assailant is unseen. So whoever attacked him was unseen. Don't really know who this can be, because Lone Wolf is in a rivalry with Chris Ross. And the only other person that would have to or would be able to return would be Derek Carter. And he's got a torn ACL, so I'm assuming it's somebody from the roster, like Lane or Greyhound or something, or someone who's going to try to challenge Majigeta and somehow make it special, because even though they're not really special, but this will all work around, and then eventually I guess I will face Majigeta. But until then, it seems as though somebody else is kind of trying to return and face Majigeta. So I guess that I guess waits for my part now, because I will end up facing Majigeta eventually. But until then, I don't know who is going to face Majigeta. I'm confused because, I don't know all the pieces to this. So this is one of the first times where I've actually ever been stumped with USW, because I don't know who else can face him. Lone Wolf is in a rivalry with Chris Ross, and the only other person in return will make an impacting return, something that would, have USW go through all this trouble, or a video package just to make this and build it up, would be Derek Carter. But he's out till January of 2016 with a torn ACL. So I'm honestly stumped, and I can't. I don't know what's going to happen. And that's kind of annoying to me, but it's also kind of interesting to me. I don't know why. Anyway, excuse me. Next match, 7th match, main event of the evening, number 1 contenders qualifying match for the USW Championship match at Hardcore Haven. Dwayne Porter beat Chris Ross. Ending, Porter at the porthole, covered Ross for the win. Seth attacked Chris Ross with a metal noose. I can't believe I forgot about Chris Ross and Seth. All right, wait a minute. He got on the microphone and challenged Chris Ross to a match at Hardcore Haven for the USW World Title in a Metal Chains Hangman's match. This is what will end the show. I completely forgot when I was talking earlier about Lone Wolf and Chris Ross. Excuse me. That Seth and Chris Ross will have a match at Hardcore Haven in a Metal Chain Hangman's match, by the way, may I remind you. So this means Majigeta and Lone Wolf can face. It's a possibility. I'm still stumped. I'm not confident on it. But I do know Chris Ross and Seth are going to be facing in a Metal Chain. Let me really rephrase that. In a fucking Metal Chain Hangman's match. My mind has been blown. The last time we saw that match was Majigeta versus Western Light. And I think it was at maybe Hardcore Haven 2014. Excuse me. However, I'm ready for this match. I want to see it happen, and I'm glad that this ended the show. We didn't see Alexander Rotten for the rest of the night, which kind of made it special, because the last thing we had was him getting fully confirmed as a heel. So the last time we saw him on the show was his confirmation of a heel. That was at the beginning of the show. So they don't use him for the rest of the show, which makes it special. And not only that, but they end the show with a World Championship promo and not a USW Championship promo. That's very interesting. That's very good booking. That's very intriguing. Because now I'm intrigued even more to see the World Championship match. I'm ready for it. So what do we have for Hardcore Haven? Already confirmed, which is in 2 weeks on June 21st, 2015. Here's what we have. Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin defend the USW Tag Team Championships against Case. Indigo Reaction will face the Martin Brothers in a motherfucking tables match. We also have Dwayne Porter versus Western Light versus Alexander Rodden in a three-ways match for the USW Championship. We had the USW Blue Belt Championship being fought in a cage match between Prophecy and Yo-Yo Joe. We have the International Championship being defended by James against Ash, Gringo, and Titanfall in a four-ways match. We also have Dustin Raymond versus Cannon. It seems like we're going to get Washington versus Morbid. It seems as though, yeah, it seems as though that's. Oh, it also seems as though we're going to have Fernandez versus Philip Akron, and Anarchy versus Crimson Red. Although those two matches haven't been confirmed. But yeah, that's quite a bit. So it's interesting. Oh, and Double XL versus Capital in a steel death match, which we also have not seen since, I believe, March 12th, 2014, when Majigeta beat Cannon for the World Heavyweight Championship on Wednesday Night Intensity. Oh, we also have Majigeta versus some other guy at. I'm pretty sure it's Lone Wolf. Majigeta versus Lone Wolf. I'm gonna say Majigeta versus Lone Wolf at Hardcore Haven. That match also hasn't been confirmed. So, oh, and of course, Chris Ross versus Seth for the USW World Heavyweight Championship in a metal chain hangman's match. It seems like a great card right now. We're going to see how the go-home show next week for Wednesday Night Intensity plays out. Because next week, we're going to get some more matches confirmed. I promise you that. Excuse me. Because there will at least be one more confirmed match. Because not all of these matches that I named were confirmed. Most of them were, but not all of them were. However, excuse me, next week's Intensity. Next week's episode of Intensity will make or break Hardcore Haven 2015. Why do I say that? Because that is the last time that they will have the opportunity to build up this pay-per-view the way it should be built up. And if it's not built up properly, that's going to mean bad things for the WWE and their booking. I'm sorry, not WWE, for USW and their booking. With that being said, that was my review of the June 10th, 2015 episode of Wednesday Night Intensity. I hope you liked this video. And if you like this video, remember to like, favorite, and subscribe to Unitards for more. Sincerely, I'm Zach Hardy, signing off. I'm Zach Hardy, signing out. Oh, no. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.